The title of the message this morning is Gay Marriage, a State of Disgrace. Just to give you a little background, on May 17th, 2000, 61% of California voters approved something called Proposition 22 that says only marriage between a man and a woman is valid and recognized in California. And I think we all felt a certain amount of temporary security because of that, but it didn't last. In recent months, on May 15th, 2008, the California Supreme Court, 7 individuals. There are 36 million in California. You were right, Stephen. I was wrong. I thought there were fewer. 7 individuals, supposedly representing 36 million, by a 1-judge margin, overturned what the people had voted and said that this prohibition on gay marriage was not constitutional, opening the way for same-sex marriages. They said it violated the state constitution, but the Constitution had always said marriage was between a man and a woman. And they ordered the state to begin processing same-sex marriages as of June 17th, 2008. And that happened. That sent a shudder down my spine because I know my Bible, and I think it's connected. Now, if you look in a dictionary a few months ago and you were to say, what is a definition for marriage? What is marriage? You would find in Webster's, and here I'm quoting from the American Heritage Dictionary, marriage is the legal union of a man and a woman as husband and wife. It is a man and a woman. A blizzard of programs that come over the TV. All the popular sitcoms, they've got their gay characters and they're so winsome and funny. And you get the decorators and they're all flaunting their gayness. And these cooks on TV and they're all flaunting it. And it's just they kid each other about it and they joke about it. And little by little, our sensibilities about what is appropriate and what is normal, we've been anesthetized against something that's going to cut our heart out as a nation. Now, marriage is a moral institution. Why gays who are doing something the Bible calls an abomination, a perversion, revolting, shameful, unnatural, why they would want it to be sanctified? The word sanctified means being made holy. Who can make something holy but God? Does the state make anything holy? So it's really an oxymoron, gay marriage. There is no such thing. How can you call something holy that the Bible condemns as unholy? How can you look for God to bless something that His Word says is cursed? Leviticus 20, if you want to know how the Lord feels, if a man lies with a man as he lies with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. That word abomination means cause for abhorrence and disgust. It means a stench in the nose of God. They shall be put to death, their blood shall be upon them. God had some pretty strong feelings about this, and yet I get letters, because I talk about this periodically. It's been around for years. I get letters from people in the gay community who say, well, Pastor Doug, you're misinterpreting these scriptures. I'm sorry, friends. If that isn't plain, then nothing in the Bible is plain. These new laws have nothing to do with love. But all the advertising you're going to see, there's going to be a war in the media pretty soon over these propositions. They're going to make it sound like we're trying to outlaw love. Has nothing to do with love. It has to do with lust. You notice it doesn't say that a man should not covet his neighbor's husband. That wasn't even thought of, because that was so reprehensible that it was a self-evident truth. Oh, by the way, in the Bible, when it talks about this, it talks about homosexuality and bestiality in the same passage. They're back to back. That's next. People are going to be wanting to get married to their dogs and cats. In health education classes, state law requires teachers to instruct children as young as kindergarten about marriage. Education Code 51890, if the gay marriage ruling is not overturned, teachers will be required to teach young children there is no difference between gay marriage and traditional marriage. Already there have been justices of the peace in California that have lost their jobs because they said, look, I'm not going to perform. They work for the state, and the state said, it's the law. You're out of here. And they've lost their jobs after years of faithful service because they said, I cannot conscientiously marry 2 people of the same sex. I just heard, was it last week on the radio, they had the talk radio discussing the famous Hallmark greeting card company is now issuing cards for same-sex marriages. And they said, well, there's a market out there, and we just are here to serve the populace, and probably others will follow suit pretty soon. 2 men in tuxedos on top of a cake, and 2 women on top of a cake, and they got a bunch of them that says 2 hearts, 1 promise. But don't start twisting the truth to try to fit a confused culture. Matter of fact, I think it's interesting, friends, when Proposition 22 was overturned, on July 17th, they said they're going to start to issue gay marriage certificates. Oh, I'll tell you, they were sure happy at some of the courthouses in San Francisco. And the people were rejoicing in the streets, and they thought this was wonderful. But that same week, a series of dry storms came through California, and they had record fires raging around the state more than any other time in history the very week. You wonder. You can't help but wonder. People say, well, that's purely coincidence. What was it? 1,781 fires were burning at one time from lightning striking California. I'm trying to be sensitive because we love people. Can God save homosexuality? Yeah, you just read there in the memory verse. So homosexuals will not enter the kingdom of heaven. But he goes on to say, and such were some of you. They can get the victory over those tendencies. People are tempted with all kinds of temptations, both mental and physical temptations. The devil will throw all kinds of things at it, but at least start with, you can't be healed until you realize this is wrong, and God needs to save me from it. I know that there are people who are listening to my voice right now that struggle with these tendencies, and praise God you're here. I'm a pastor. I counsel all kinds of people. And, if folks come to me and say, Pastor Doug, and I've done it many, many times, we're struggling. I've got these tendencies. I want to get the victory. And I'm not going to identify them, but there are people sitting here today that have gotten the victory over those tendencies. So don't tell me that they can't. They can. They do. Don't tell me that the devil's more powerful than Jesus. Don't tell me that God can't give someone a new heart and change their desires and affections. He can. Well, make sure that your love for Jesus is supreme even more than your families and your loved ones. I think sometimes that we are so sensitive about not wanting to offend men, we become indifferent about offending God. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, ministers in churches, 501c3, we're not allowed by the law to endorse candidates. We are allowed to address issues. What I'm talking about is something that should be of interest to, doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, what you are. This is an issue. And we are allowed to talk about this in the church. If you vote for Proposition 8, you're against love. That has nothing to do with it. You're against perversion is what it has to do. And you're for marriage. Well, here's the good news. There's something we can do as people in California. We can do it as Americans. There's a proposition on the ballot November 8th. No. It's November 4th. It's called Proposition 8. Most of the time when there's a new proposition on the ballot, I automatically vote no. Because most of those propositions are disguised tax increases. They got some very clever ways to disguise tax increases. They call them investments and they call them all kinds of things. This is one proposition I don't want you to automatically check no. I want you to check yes. Because let me tell you exactly what this says so you don't have any confusion about it. Here's the proposition. It's a change to the Constitution of California, and once we change that as a people, liberal judges cannot do anything about it. And that Constitution will change, will say only marriage between a man and woman is valid and recognized in California. There you have it up on the screen. That's what you're voting for. Anything wrong with that? I mean, unless we're all snails, there's nothing wrong with that. And by the way, I hope that this program, what I'm sharing with you now, I hope that you copy it. I hope you get it from the Amazing Facts website and the Central Church website. And I hope you email it to all your friends, not only in California, but especially in California, but all over the country. Because we got a problem. We've been intimidated by a minority of perverted people who are wanting us to sanctify and vindicate what they know is wrong. And they're trying to use us to do it.